to The Horror with your hostess with the most incredible as always. It is Friday. Happy Friday. You guys have all made it through the work week and everything. So I'm going to be doing a documentary, a little something different. And that is going to be not Rent itself, but there is a documentary along with this movie that is called No Day But Today, and it's basically the story of the writer of the Rent Broadway play, and in a sense, the movie itself, since they use the screenplay and everything, obviously. It is about Jonathan Larson. Like I said, he wrote the musical and everything, so it's mainly about him and kind of about how Rent came about and everything. And this is actually the documentary that's on here. I'm sure you could probably find it on like YouTube and stuff if you don't have a copy of Rent. But this is actually a really good documentary. I think it's like an hour and a half to 2 hours long. I think closer to 2 hours. So it is a good length documentary. Lots of good stuff in here. But basically, it's more so about the life of Jonathan and everything, and his struggles, and him trying to kind of make his way into the Broadway business and everything, and being a writer, being a successful writer, and just sort of like all the hardships that he had during his life and everything. And just like I said, the way that like Rent kind of came about and everything. But yeah, it's a wonderful little documentary that I think everyone should see. Even Rent itself, I think everyone should see, and then go watch the documentary. But yeah, I think it's just like a really sort of fascinating one. Both the documentary and the movie itself. And the play itself is, for anyone who has not ever seen Rent, whether the movie or on Broadway or on stage or anything. It is about a group of people a few days before like Christmas and the New Year of 1989. So it's kind of like the end of the 80s and everything, beginning of the 90s. So we've got all like the AIDS stuff and everything going on. You've got people like in New York and everything who are struggling, can't pay their rent and everything, hence Rent. But yeah, they kind of like, talk about how Jonathan came about with this play and everything, and was just kind of like, at the time living in New York, seeing all the struggles with his friends, with himself and everything, seeing a lot of his friends dying of AIDS itself and everything, the disease itself and everything, and how he just kind of wanted to make more of an awareness about people's struggles and this AIDS epidemic and everything, and like the change in like politics and everything a little bit and all this, and like how some people go onto their separate paths and everything, but are always kind of like intertwined in each other's lives and everything. So it's a great little documentary. It's a tearjerker too. Like honestly, each time I watched it, this is one of those documentaries I do watch quite a bit. It is one of my favorite documentaries of all time. And like each time I see it, I mean, I get a little misty-eyed. Not quite like I do with like the Macho Man Randy Savage documentary, or Andre the Giant documentary and stuff like that, or even now with like the history of the Eagles. Whenever I watch that and I see like Glenn Fry on there, and I'm like, bawling a bit and stuff. Not quite to that extent, but it still will just like it'll keep you in check to make sure you got a pulse and you're a human being, you're a decent human being. But no, it's a wonderful thing, and this is literally like, because he had written a number of things before Rent, but Rent was really like the thing that made him famous, and it's so sad too, because just as like Rent was starting to become like this thing, like I think he saw like the first like performance and everything, first couple performances, and then he ended up actually like passing away suddenly. So he never really got to enjoy and see the success of his baby in Rent, with like the success it had on Broadway, up to it actually becoming a movie, a feature-length movie and everything. So it's really just kind of like sad to know that he finally got a break, and he couldn't even like enjoy it. And this is like one of those people like who just worked their butts off, never gave up. You just kind of really wish that he could have enjoyed the success of this, and to see how many people this this one show touched so many people and everything, and he just unfortunately could not, experience that and see that. This is like one of those few times where it's like, this is someone who should have been able to, experience that and just experience like the positivity that it brought to a lot of people, and just kind of like representing so many people during that time and everything. And I think even now too, I think the movie itself resonates, and the documentary resonates even now with people. But it's unfortunate to know that he was not able to enjoy a lot of this success or anything, since he did pass away so young. But definitely check this one out, you guys. Like I said, it is a good one. It is a good documentary. I would definitely say, it's worth picking up the movie itself just for the documentary. One of these days I will do a review on Rent. It's one of those that I've been wanting to do for a while. I will get to it eventually, I promise. But yeah, definitely check out the documentary. It's terrific. It is a terrific one. I think a lot of you guys will really enjoy it and everything, especially to see kind of someone really working their butts off, never giving up. I feel like that is just so inspirational and everything. It gives you motivation to kind of like, hey, don't give up or anything, because no matter what, do it. You gotta leave your mark somehow on this earth. So, but let me know what you guys think of the documentary if you have seen it. Till next time, you guys, as always, stay creepy, classy, and a little bit sassy.